What if I told you saving $10,000 has nothing to do with making more money? Sounds crazy, but it's true. Most people struggle because their money management is broken, not their income. That's where cash stuffing comes in. It's a simple budgeting method, also known as the cash envelope system, that shows you exactly how to budget without stress. But the real magic isn't just the system. It's the psychology behind it. Let's start with the first secret, the fake broke secret. It's psychology trick. Here's a mindset shift that can literally save you thousands. You need to act broke, even when you're not. Sounds weird, right? But this is the secret behind people who are actually good at money management. When most people start cash stuffing, they think the goal is just to organize money. But the real power? It changes how you think about spending. The fake broke rule is simple. You stop acting like you have extra money, even if you technically do. Why? Because your brain spends based on what it feels is available. If you see $1,000 in your account, your brain goes, "I'm good, I can spend." But if you only allow yourself to use what's inside your envelopes, suddenly you feel limited, and that's a good thing. Let's make this real. Say you have $2,000 total money, but only $300 in your wants envelope. Even though you know you have more money, you act like that $300 is all you've got for fun. Your friends invite you out. Old you would say, "Yeah, I can afford it." But new you? You check your envelope and think, "Do I really want to spend part of this?" That pause right there? That's the psychology working. You're creating a controlled scarcity, not real poverty, but a limit that protects your future. And here's the crazy part. People who feel broke spend less. But people who feel rich spend more, even if they're actually broke. That's why this works better than any complicated budgeting method or trying to figure out how to budget perfectly. You're not relying on discipline. You're changing your behavior automatically. Over time, this habit stacks up. $20 saved here, $50 saved there. And suddenly, hitting $10,000 doesn't feel impossible anymore. But here's where most people mess up next. They treat every envelope the same. And that's a big mistake. Let's fix that with the next secret. The priority envelope hack. Not all envelopes are equal. Let me tell you something most people get completely wrong. Not all money is equal. If you treat every cash envelope the same, you'll stay stuck. Because some money is meant to be spent, and some is meant to change your life. This is one of the smartest budgeting tips you can use. When people start the cash envelope system, they usually split money evenly and think, "Done." But real progress happens when you prioritize. Here's the rule. Your most important goals get funded first, and everything else comes after. Think about it like this. You have 3 main envelopes: needs, wants, savings. Most budgeting for beginners do this. They spend on wants first, then try to save what's left. And guess what? There's usually nothing left. Now flip it. For example, you get paid $2,000. Instead of filling wants freely, you do this first. $300 savings, it's priority. $1,200 needs. $500 wants. Now your future is protected before your lifestyle. That's how you learn how to budget money the right way. Here's a simple example. You want to save $10,000. So you create a savings envelope and treat it like a bill. Non-negotiable. Even if your wants money runs low, you never touch that savings envelope. That shift is powerful. Because now you're not just managing money. You're directing it with purpose. And over time, that priority envelope grows faster than you expect. But here's the next level most people don't know. What if you could make saving even easier by removing the temptation completely? Let's talk about that next. The invisible money trick. Out of sight means untouchable. Here's a simple trick that can save you thousands. If you can't see your money, you won't spend it. Sounds almost too easy. But this is one of the most powerful parts of cash stuffing. It's not just a budgeting method. It's a psychological hack that changes your money management fast. And if you're learning how to budget, especially in budgeting for beginners, this is a game changer. The idea is simple. The more visible your money is, the easier it is to spend. The less you see it, the harder it is to touch. Let's be real. If your savings are sitting in your main wallet or account, your brain thinks it's available. So, when something tempting shows up, like sale, food, random shopping, you're way more likely to spend it. That's where the invisible money trick comes in. You take your savings out of your daily environment, put it in a separate envelope, or even better, store it somewhere you don't check often, such as in a box, a drawer, or a different account. Now your brain stops thinking about it. Here's a simple example. Let's say you save $300 every month. Instead of keeping it in your main wallet, you move it into a hidden envelope labeled $10,000 goal. Week by week, you don't see it. You don't think about it. So you don't spend it. After a few months, you check it. And you're like, wait, I already saved this much. That's the magic. You didn't rely on discipline. You removed the temptation completely. This is how people accidentally save thousands. Because what's invisible becomes untouchable. But here's where things get even more powerful. Saving money isn't just about hiding it. It's about controlling it consistently. And that brings us to the next level. The weekly reset system. This is where $10,000 actually happens. Here's the secret nobody talks about. Saving $10,000 isn't about one big move. It's about small weekly resets. Most people fail at cash stuffing because they only think monthly. They set a plan, then forget about it. But real money management happens weekly. This is where the weekly reset system comes in. It's simple. Once a week, you check, adjust, and reset your money. That's it. Think of it like going to the gym. You don't work out once a month and expect results, right? Same thing with your money. Here's how it works. Every week, pick a specific day. Sunday night, for example, you sit down for 10 to 15 minutes and check each cash envelope. See how much is left. Adjust if needed. Let's make it real. For example, you start the month with $500 in your wants envelope. Week 1, you spent $150, so there's $350 left. Week 2, you spent $200, so there's $150 left. Now during your weekly reset, you notice, okay, I'm spending too fast. So you slow down in week 3. Maybe you skip eating out. Maybe you cook more. Without this reset, you'd probably run out of money by week 3. But because you checked early, you fixed it in time. That's the power. You're not waiting for the damage to happen. You're catching it while it's still small. This is one of the most underrated budgeting tips out there, because it keeps your system alive and working. And over time, these small weekly corrections, they stack up into big results. That's how people quietly reach $5,000, then $8,000, and then reach $10,000. Not perfectly, but consistently. Now, there's one final rule that takes this to another level. Because if you really want to control your spending, you need to feel it. Let's talk about the last secret. The painful spending rule. Make spending hurt. Here's the uncomfortable truth that will change how you spend money forever. If spending doesn't hurt, you'll never stop. That's why cash stuffing works so well. It's not just a budgeting method. It forces you to feel your money. If you're learning how to budget money, this is the missing piece most budgeting for beginners ignore. The cash envelope system makes every dollar real. The painful spending rule is simple. Make every purchase feel like a decision, not a habit. When you use cards, there's no emotion. Swipe, done. No pain. But when you use cash, you see it, you touch it, you lose it. That creates friction. And friction is powerful. Here's what it looks like in real life. You're about to buy something for $50. If it's digital, your brain says, it's just $50. But with cash, you open your envelope, you see the bills, and now your brain goes, is this really worth it? That tiny pause. That's the rule working. Let's go deeper. You can actually increase this pain in a good way. Try this. Only carry the exact amount you're allowed to spend. Or use smaller bills, so you physically hand over more notes. For example, instead of one $100 bill, you have 5 $20 bills. Spending $60 now feels like a lot, because you're handing over 3 bills. That visual loss hits harder. Another trick. Say the cost in time, not money. This $50 equals 5 hours of my work. Now it's not just money anymore. It's your life energy. Suddenly you think twice. That's the goal. Because the less you spend on things you don't need, the faster your savings grow. This is how normal people hit $10,000. Not by earning more, but by making smarter, slightly uncomfortable decisions every day. And once spending starts to feel a little painful, saving starts to feel addictive. If this video is useful, please share and comment. And if you like financial content like this, like and subscribe this channel. Hundreds K.